Today, Thursday, August 28th, we just got very exciting news out of Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. The park announced that in spring 2026, a brand new dark ride will be opening in the Boo Blasters building. In this video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about the return of Phantom Theater, including details from the park, my thoughts, and my predictions for what this means for Kings Island's next roller coaster and what that will be. If you guys go on to enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe because I have tons of other coaster content I'm working on right now. It might just be a little bit before I get all that out because I have this dumb thing to do called homework. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so this new for 2026 dark ride is of course the refurbishment of Kings Island's shooting dark ride Boo Blasters into Phantom Theater opening Nightmare. Boo Blasters actually opened as Phantom Theater in 1992, so some of you Kings Island fans are probably super excited for the chance to experience it again, and I'm so happy they're doing this. Me personally, I'm a little too young to have ever experienced the original Phantom Theater, but I'm super excited to get to do it now. Now, I don't think it's going to be an exact remake of Phantom Theater, but just something that's based off it and expands on the story. Kings Island always does a good job at paying homage to their past attractions, whether in cases like the Bat, where they rethemed Flight Deck to an old roller coaster, or simpler cases like the numbers on the hangars in Orion's Queue, which actually are all referenced to old roller coasters, such as Outpost 87, which is for Vortex, opening in 1987. Either way, it's super cool that they're bringing back a unique past attraction, and I'm glad because I've been saying they need to retheme Boo Blasters for years now. Boo Blasters was cool though, don't get me wrong, and it operated at the park from 2010 to 2025, so there's definitely going to be some fans of the ride that are sad, and me myself, I'm definitely a little sad, but I do think this is going to be a much better ride on every level. Boo Blasters was a little tacky, and with the information from the park, I think it's safe to say that the Phantom Theater is going to be so much better. Looking at the public press release from the park, we can see that this ride will be manufactured by the company Sally Dark Rides, which makes perfect sense. We've seen Six Flags work with them for the Battle of Metropolis Dark Rides, and parks like Hershey Park for Reese's Cup Fusion, both of which are heavily screen-based, but are very good dark rides. This makes me curious about the amount of screens they're going to utilize, if any. The next thing I want to touch on is whether or not this will be a shooting dark ride. The original Phantom Theater was not, but I feel like losing the shooting aspect would definitely be unfortunate, and I don't think we are. In just a second, I'll read the description given by the park, but it seems like the theme of this ride is that we are in line for an opera show, and then right before, lightning strikes, and according to the park, the lightning unleashes the ghost notes, mischievous musical spirits that wreak havoc across the theater, from Maestro's mighty pipe organ. If you look at these things in the graphics provided, it seems like we're going to be searching for these ghost notes shown here, and they're probably going to be hiding all around the ride. I'm assuming the flashlights shown in the graphics are the guns we'll be given, and by pointing your flashlight or shooting it at the note, you will gain points. It also discusses the elements of the ride, which I'm super glad they gave us these details. They said, the quirky characters and chaos from the original return, along with modern technology, enhanced scenic elements, and expanded storytelling, as well as, in total, 26 interactive scenes feature added multi-sensory effects like wind and sound, hidden Easter eggs throughout, and a grand on-stage musical finale with all cast members. Manufactured by Sally Dark Rides, the leader in indoor family dark ride experiences, Phantom Theater opening Nightmare is a true nod to the original that made its home at Kings Island from 1992 to 2002. So to unpack that, this ride will definitely feel modern and therefore entirely different than Boo Blasters. Wind, sound, and other effects as well as storytelling and Easter eggs is definitely exciting. I'm just curious to see if they do this through the use of screens, practical sets, or what I'm assuming will happen, a mix of the two. I feel like the characters on the graphic look almost animated, like maybe they will utilize them in on-screen show scenes, but who knows. I also am curious about the ride system and whether or not they're going to keep the same outdated system or fully just build a new one. Personally, I think it'd be a lot cooler to see a new ride system to allow for a new ride layout and potentially cooler effects, but the vehicles in these graphics do kind of just look like reskinned versions of the Boo Blasters cars. With that being said, that's basically everything we know so far, so let's get into my predictions. Also, make sure to let me know in the comments if you guys are excited for Phantom Theater and what you think about this edition. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want to see future Kings Island content. First off, why should you consider my predictions? Well, Kings Island is my home park, and I've worked at the Giga Coaster Orion for the last few seasons. With this being said though, I don't have any more insider knowledge than any of you guys, since I'm just a base level employee. But I do have a lot of knowledge on the park, industry, and company trends, so I'll be doing my best to predict what their next move will be. So with Kings Island adding a new family dark ride in 2026, this is yet another new addition for younger kids and families, following Snoopy's Soapbox Racers in 2024. Now these are both great additions for the kids, but as coaster enthusiasts and and thrill seekers, we're definitely starting to get to the edge of our seat waiting for something new. 2020 was the last new thrill coaster for Kings Island, being Orion, and with Phantom Theater returning next year, we can definitely rule out a new roller coaster in 2026. So when will the roller coaster come? Will it be anytime soon? To answer that, I'd say yes. I'm pretty sure that we'll either see a new roller coaster be added in 2027 or 2028, because Kings Island is one of the best performing parks in the country and performs better than every legacy Six Flags park. Taking that into account, they typically receive a new roller coaster every 3 to 4 years, and with it being 7 since Orion and 3 from Snoopy's Soapbox Racers, it is definitely time. I can definitely see this being in 2027, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they make us wait until 2028. If we start to see land clearing and construction early next season, it'll be safe to say that 2027 is likely, but until we see work being done, I could see it being either year. Now for the exciting part. What type of roller coaster will this be and where will it be located? Now I have 2 spots in the park that I think it could be. First is the plot of land that Vortex used to occupy. This is a decent chunk of land in a high traffic area of the park right next to the Beast. It definitely deserves a new coaster, but I've heard that the quality of the ground isn't the greatest and it would need strengthening, not to mention that they currently use this area to launch the drones for the drone show. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard rumors that Siren's Curse might have gone to Kings Island in this plot of land, but then the ground was too weak and they ended up just ruling out Kings Island. Whether or not this is actually true or just rumors, I don't know, but if the ground is weak, that definitely would discourage the park from wanting to build something there. And I know they could change the location of the drone show, but it's just another added on thing that they're going to have to do. I also just feel like there's a better spot in the park for a roller coaster, and that's up at the front of the park. Imagine walking in and seeing a massive new coaster over the entrance like Gatekeeper at Cedar Point or Fury 325 at Carowinds. Now this would take the spot of Invertigo, Congo Falls, and then maybe the Timberwolf Theater behind it or Drop Tower, if they choose to remove Drop Tower, but I don't think they're going to. They also could use the Extreme Skyflyer plot if they have it wrap around Drop Tower. Now before all you guys get mad at me and say, wait, Invertigo's still there, Congo Falls still there, I'm predicting that both rides are going to close by the end of this year and that we'll hear an announcement from the park. Now Invertigo didn't operate at all for the last month of the 2025 regular season, and personally I've been saying that Invertigo and Congo Falls are the next rides to go for a little while. It just makes sense to remove these two, as they are not in an amazing location right in the front of the park, and they're both just not popular. Invertigo is a Vekoma suspended boomerang, which is actually a dying breed of roller coaster and is the last one in the United States. So it is a little sad if it does go, but it's pretty rough and honestly kind of unreliable. Also, like I said, it's just not the most popular. This ride is expensive for the park to operate, and if it's not really drawing large crowds of people in, it would just make more sense to put something else here. Congo Falls also never has a line, and the park has 2 other water attractions with Whitewater Canyon and the Charlie Brown themed log flume. It'd be awesome to see the park redo the front entrance to be more modern and to see a standout roller coaster up here. Yes, you heard me right. I said a standout roller coaster because that's exactly what Kings Island needs. Kings Island has one of the most consistent roller coaster lineups, with 4 or 5 really amazing roller coasters that are just shy of that elite category. Kings Island has a lot of great roller coasters, but none of them are really talked about like rides such as Steel Vengeance or Velocicoaster, where almost everyone who rides them is blown away, and people travel from all over the world to ride those rides. Looking at Kings Island's current lineup, they also need a coaster with launches, inversions, sharp ejector airtime, and quick transitions. These are all things that the park doesn't have much of or just needs more of. With those factors in mind, the manufacturers that we know the company works with that I can see making a ride like that is one of these 3, either Mack Rides, Premier Rides, or Vekoma. First, let's talk about Mack. Mack Rides has been repeatedly shocking the industry by outdoing themselves time and time again. I would love to see them build a new coaster for Kings Island, but I do think it's probably the least likely option. Six Flags hasn't bought any modern coasters from Mack, and the only one Cedar Fair ever purchased was Copperhead Strike at Carowinds. While I definitely could see a Mack multi-launch like Copperhead Strike, I'd much prefer to see Kings Island get a Mack Extreme Spinner or Striker coaster. A Striker like Voltron would be insane, but I don't see it happening realistically. While I do think an Extreme Spinner is possible, this ride would likely be over $30 million, and I'm not sure if Six Flags is willing to spend that kind of money on Kings Island right now. If there's any of these options that I'd like to happen the most, it's definitely an Extreme Spinner, because the way people talk about Ride to Happiness with its airtime and disorienting inversions, it honestly might be the best coaster on earth. Just imagine if Kings Island got a huge Extreme Spinner looming over that entrance. Second, with Premier Rides, I could totally see a ride similar to Alpenfury coming to Kings Island. Something inversion focused with intensity, multiple launches, and good ejector airtime would just be perfect here. Although it would be very odd to see a park with 3 Premier launch coasters, since they already have Flight of Fear and Queen City Stunt Coaster, but these are all so different that the GP would not be able to tell. I'd be super happy with this and wouldn't mind seeing this at all, but I do think there's one multi-launch coaster that's just a a little more likely, and that is a Vekoma multi-launch. This is my official prediction for what Kings Island's next roller coaster will be. After riding Siren's Curse, a ride like this would definitely offer one of the most fun experiences at the park, with good launches and inversions, but I don't know if it has the potential to be elite. See, a ride like a Mach Extreme Spinner or a Striker coaster have the potential to be the best coaster not only in Ohio, but in the world. And let's be honest, that's probably not going to happen. Six Flags did purchase Siren's Curse and Flash Vertical Velocity, so I wonder if they have more Vekoma projects in the works. I've ridden both of these and they are very comfortable, smooth rides with good onboard audio and fun layouts. A Vekoma multi-launch would be awesome and potentially the best ride in the park, so I can't wait to see if that's what they end up doing. But I do think it is the most likely and it's probably what we're going to see happen. Let me know in the comments if you agree and what your predictions are. If you enjoyed, make sure you give me a like and subscribe with those notifications on so you never miss a post. Make sure to go follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well for more content. With that being said, that's all I have for today, so I hope you guys all have an amazing day, stay positive, and keep riding coasters. Peace.